Sound great. I had to turn down on my mom's mic a little bit.
I can see that.
Yeah, just so it doesn't blow out the sound. Love you, Mom.
Love you, Auntie.
All right, let's get started.
Baddies Mean Business. Okay.
I know we're in our house right now, in the house that we live in. Let me just give some background first, though. Welcome back to Baddies Mean Business. This is the podcast where women share knowledge to women, from women. We're about the girlies in this podcast. Girls.
Through and through.
And then for those who do not recognize Morgan, I talk about her all the time in the podcast. Because she's my roommate and she's also my cousin, but we basically grew up kind of like sisters. Mm-hmm. So our lives are very heavily intertwined. And so today I thought, why not bring her back to the podcast?
It's been a while. It's been like 3 years.
You were probably like the first 3 episodes.
Yeah. No, I remember.
Back in the day when we recorded in Morgan's old apartment here in San Diego that she moved into in Mission Trails. Mm-hmm. And we talked about, it was like right after she graduated, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was still in school.
Uh-huh. And
we're like, well, let's do a revival.
Yeah.
Let's do this again. We've grown a little bit.
We've grown a lot. A lot.
Character
Character development. The character both of us.
Extreme. Morgan always reminds me of that too. Mm-hmm. That my character development and hers as well.
Insane, guys. I'm not even going to go into depth.
Okay.
But okay.
Oh, you want to go in depth? Go ahead.
We'll keep it PG. No. Love you, Auntie and Uncle.
many layers. But my parents, they'll figure it out. But anyways. For those who have never listened to before, welcome. Welcome to the chaos. It's not always chaotic, but I do have a wide range of guests I usually bring on. I've been loving bringing on my family more and more, but of course we have others who are like founders, investors. Like we just bring all types of women on this podcast. But for those who have never listened before, we always start off the podcast by doing the Baddie Briefing. Mm-hmm. The Baddie Briefing is a segment we do where we share our favorite quote of the week. And then we also share our favorite something of the week. It could be anything. It could be music. It could be product. It could be anything. I'm like out of breath.
It's okay.
From like
we did a long walk, so we're kind of catching up.
I'm not a runner. I'm not a running cardio girl.
But it was a nice day, so we had to take advantage. Anyways.
It's been flooding here in San Diego a little bit. Yeah. Not complaining though. I'm sorry. We're good. We're great.
We're thankful.
Thankful. Exactly. But you've known about this segment, so I don't really have to explain it much further. But do you want to go first?
Sure. So I'll start with my quote.
Okay.
So this quote was said by Kate Hodges. She said, "Behind every great woman is another great woman." And I just think that's so powerful, especially, what we're going to talk about today. I think friendship and just like who you surround yourself, I know that's super cliche, but it's so telling of who you are as a person and like who you're going to become. So I just really resonate with that. And I have a good group of girls around me, and like Riley I have next door. So it's just, I love surrounding myself with these group of women, and they're just so inspiring. And yeah,
I'm definitely proud of our friend group. We have a incredible friend group.
Yeah.
To really rely on. And we all know that girls have their advisory boards. Like we talk about everything. Like it's always nice to have someone to bounce ideas off of and you actually trust their opinion.
Different personalities, different values. So we get it all.
And so I love that quote too. Let me go ahead and pull up mine now. Mine is kind of tied into the sweatshirt I'm wearing, which is part of our merch. It says aggressive ? No, effective. If that's not the story of my life, I don't know what is. The quote is, "Well-behaved women seldom make history." And this is by Laurel Thatcher Ulrich. I like that quote because of, well, obviously it ties into the whole idea of how there are these little things that get placed or characterized as women, that may not always be a double standard for sometimes men. And so it's kind of like breaking standards. It's being okay with that. Like, the people that we admire the most are the ones who have broken through the mold the most. And so that's my quote for the week. But let's go ahead and get into the favorites.
The favorites. So I have two. If I can do that on here.
You can do it.
Okay, one I have here. I brought it with me. This is my favorite. I don't go anywhere without this. Anyone who knows me, I always have lip gloss with me. But this is my new fave, Summer Fridays, in the shade Brown Sugar. So love a good brown tint.
So we a funny story that this just reminded me of. We have presentation nights occasionally in this household, and we invite your friends over, and Morgan is definitely the lip gloss plug.
Yeah.
Always. Everyone's like, lip gloss? Oh, Morgan?
I've always, every shade. So
Every shade. I can always rely on you. I use just the regular, like, the $1 chapstick. Maybe some Aquaphor.
maybe, yeah.
If you're feeling spicy.
Carmex.
I love that. My favorite of the week is actually someone you introduced to me, but it's Friday. The artist Friday.
Yes.
It's like with
two Y's.
Two Y's. He kind of sounds like Giving On.
And like a little bit of a blast. BLXST.
Oh yeah, and Blast
Yeah.
too.
It's a good mix.
He has amazing music. It's just like we've been so our Amazon Alexa likes to give me crap. If you didn't watch the last episode, I yelled at her.
Don't say her name. She's listening.
She's listening. But it's just so hard to get Friday to play on Alexa on demand. So we're slowly training her.
Yeah.
To do so.
But he's also like a gospel singer too. And so we always love to listen to our little worship music in the morning. It gets us going. So
go ahead and share your second favorite.
My second favorite of the week. So I've been a Stanley girl, like any other girl, through and through from the beginning. But my boyfriend put me on to Hydro Jug. And honestly,
I've never heard of that.
Really? So you can throw it, you can drop it anywhere. It won't, like, obviously roll around in your car, but it does not leak. It is leak proof. So yeah, that's my favorite of the week. And I hate to admit it because I've been a Stanley girl through and through, but I'll give flowers where they're due. So,
you know, because I just saw on the Forbes Instagram account that there's like a battle happening between the water, like bottles.
Right.
Hydro Flask is coming after Stanley.
Yeah.
For some type of, I don't know, lead issue.
Yeah, situation. I don't know.
So was it Hydro Jug?
Hydro Flask.
Wait.
Hydro Jug. You're right.
Hydro Jug is coming for everybody's
There's so many
next.
hydros anyway.
I'm like, let's just change the last word of all these brands,
right.
And then we've got genius.
We found it.
Exactly. I'll have to check it out. But anyways, go check those out. But we're gonna go ahead and dive right into this episode. All the juice. Morgan and I always talk about everything anyways. We really did grow up like sisters. So we are gonna share a bit about like what our relationship was like growing up. I think a lot of people can probably relate to what it's like to have some close cousins or close best friends. Yeah. But if you don't care, you can just skip ahead into our next segment because we will be covering.
I swear it's interesting.
We have interesting lives. There's a reason why we're recording this. But if you can go ahead and skip ahead because we will be talking about friendship advice, unpopular opinions. Also, Morgan is an ex-athlete as well. So we're going to be talking about adjusting to adulthood afterwards after being a D1 athlete. So we're going to talk about all of that. And we did, just a little disclaimer, we did talk about boundaries.
Yeah, she had to fill me in on what her boundaries
we're
were.
Not talking about certain things. Okay. I was a quirky little kid.
Like I said, character development.
That was a perfect little full circle moment. So I told her we're not allowed to talk about that, but we can share other things. And so, okay, I just want go ahead and just give your quick summary of what it was like
Yeah.
growing up together.
So I'm sure you guys know, but we're from Yakima, Washington. We've always lived like 5 to 10 minutes away from each other. So it was just either a walk, a run, like just super close together.
But we only could walk one direction because it was too much energy to go back the other direction.
Right. And we'd always have sleepovers.
Like every night.
Every night. We'd always ask her mom, like, hey, like, do you mind if she spends the night again? And then I can go to hers and spend the night there. So it was just like back and forth. Her parents were my parents were her parents. So
we probably, our record was probably what, like 5 or 7 days straight.
Yeah, it could have been a week, honestly.
And they had to tell us, like, are you gonna come home?
Yeah.
Like, are you done yet?
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, what do you mean? I was just there.
Right. And my brother is 7 years older than me, so he left the house pretty early on in my life. And so I had Riley, thankfully. Oh my gosh, I would have lost my mind. Because I did have stricter parents, so like friends. Not that I wasn't allowed to hang out with them, but you know, strict parents, they just want to be around people they know.
Very
kids.
like protective.
Yeah.
And so we, thank God, had each other. And then my brother was 4 years younger. And so we are on the younger end when it comes to like our other cousins.
Yeah.
But Morgan's a year and a half older than I am. So we were always kind of close in age in that way.
Yeah. But other than that, I feel like we are anyone who knows us, I think we are very opposite.
Yes.
Like I would consider myself like a type B. Okay.
No. Oh my God.
Type B plus.
A minus.
Okay, I'll take that. And Riley's just like super creative and like spontaneous.
I'm type B. Yes.
And if anyone looks at our office, like one corner is like super like everything's lined up, and that's my corner, and hers is like super like creative and like how would you even explain it?
You're being very kind right now. For those who listen to my episode where I'm saying my ends of 2024, I'm more of a maximalist, meaning there isn't a ton of rhyme or reason in my background. I have like albums and pictures and colorful pictures behind me, like art.
Yeah.
I have papers on my desk. I have wires running everywhere because of my mic setup. So it's a little more chaotic on my side.
Yeah. But I think that's why we can spend so much time together, is because we're like a yin and yang. And why we're able to live together seamlessly. So
yeah, I've learned a lot from living with Morgan. She's helped me become more type A. You are like more organized, more strategic, like more planning, better planning.
Yeah, I'm a super routine type of girl. So
yeah. And then what have I contributed in this?
You've contributed
partnership?
Me being more spontaneous. Like let's go out, like you know those fun things, like just not taking life so serious. Not that I do, but I think I can just like let loose. Like I don't have to put in a load of laundry every second of the day. Like I don't have to have an empty laundry basket. So I appreciate you.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. Just like live life, you know?
We're still working on it.
There was a point where Morgan was like, I will literally help you do your laundry.
Like empty out your room, put it in I will do it. You can start from ground zero.
And then she's like, what if we got cute hampers? Cute hampers will solve anything. I'm like, we have 6 different pairs of hampers. None of them
I keep buying them because I'm like, oh, she'll use this. There is no doubt she'll use this.
None of them are cute enough. I ended up just like throwing my clothes in this little space in my closet that is like just in the closet. And so,
I'm sorry. It's not a you problem. It's a me problem.
No, it's a me problem. Anyways, I've learned a lot. This has been my year of transition. And she's even gotten to the point where she's saying that she has so much, she wants to take care of something that she wants to get a dog. Like,
yeah,
that wasn't
reached that.
Yeah. I'm like, I've graduated as a roommate.
I love it.
But that kind of gives you a small sense of what it's like for us growing up. Morgan was literally there when I was born. like fresh out of the
Out
the womb. There's a cute little video, I'll probably post it, of her literally meeting me.
And I just wanted to take care of her like right away.
It's the same. Nothing has changed. I will literally explain this. That video will explain exactly how everything is. But it was really fun growing up together because we grew up in the same town. We were close in age. Honestly, I think I was always Morgan's little cousin, so much so that in my high school yearbook, because we went to different schools, different high schools, different districts. My high school yearbook, in one of the pages, like one of those like recreational pages, it literally says Riley Kline, which is Morgan's last name. So we were so close, people thought we were sisters. Yeah. And didn't even double check my name in the yearbook.
I don't know how. And her best friend was on the editing.
Mackenzie Hatfield, for those who've been listening.
Shout out.
Love you, girl. But she said that wasn't the page that she covered.
Those.
Yeah. So I'm like, totally fair. It was people. So I still haven't found out who that was. So if that was you and you see this, it's Jennings. Anyways, thank you so much. But anyways, then Morgan graduated from her school. We both played volleyball. There was probably 1 year where we played against each other, but I think I was on the bench.
You were young. You're younger.
I was like a freshman, and so it was like my first year swinging for our team. I was a setter for a year or 2 years, and then libero.
Yeah.
Morgan was a setter. Morgan's always been like one of the best athletes in our town. For real though, because
you're kind.
You're so humble.
Wow, I see that eye roll. That's crazy.
No, I didn't. That was really a humble response. I'm just saying. It's true. Like, for real. Like, Morgan was always just super talented, and I always looked up to her, like an older sister. And so, she helped me with like my fashion and friends, everything. Like she always brought me everywhere, which I really appreciate. It was a huge part of my life growing up.
I love bringing her though. She was always fun.
Thank you. I'm very loving it.
People always told me like, I love your cousin, she's so fun. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's sweet.
I have to keep her humble.
Sure have. But yeah, so anyways, it was really sad when Morgan graduated and she ended up moving over to Riverside and going to UCR and playing volleyball over there. Go Highlanders. That was my first experience on pretty much experience in college. What it could be like was going to visit her for my 16th birthday at UCR. And I was just like, oh, I'm coming to California for school, that's for sure.
And she went up me. She went to San Diego State.
Period. I had to have something. I wasn't an athlete. I was a nerd. I'm like, I have to have something cool, and San Diego State was awesome for that reason. But anyways, do you want to share a little bit about just like what it was like to move away?
Yeah.
All of that.
So we're both like super family oriented. So moving away was a huge adjustment. I've always known that I wanted to go to school out of state. I wanted to, be super independent, but I didn't really know like what that meant actually. Because I was pretty sheltered growing up. I think I was more so than Riley. And so going to Riverside, complete culture shock for sure, which I needed. Oh my gosh. And I know Riley can attest to this.
Bless the bottle. I mean, IE.
Go IE. I will rep the IE until I die.
It's 4 years of your life.
Yeah, no, that was a good time and I needed it. And I talked to all my friends who are out of state or just not from the SoCal Inland Empire area, and they also attest to it. Like we just needed that to grow and to see new things and to be in a different type of community where we can appreciate like our hometown or just different cultures in general. So I'm super grateful for that.
Moving out of your hometown has to be like one of the best things.
Oh yeah,
you can do it for yourself. I've said it before, I'll say it again.
Yeah, and if not right after high school, then at some point, like I highly suggest it. Riley highly suggests it. So it allows you to grow for sure, and that's why it's so hard for me to even think about going back home, even though like we're so family oriented, is I don't want to stop growing, and I don't want to stop like, I don't want to have like tunnel vision on anything. I want to develop in other avenues, so in other ways. So
And San Diego has been the best place. So fun to
yeah.
do it. And it's been really a blessing for us to be able to, it was always a dream of ours to live together in our adulthood.
Yeah.
And I'm just so grateful that we were able to make it happen here.
Yeah. It seemed like everything was just fell into the right place. Like it was just the right timing for sure. And I'm so glad we went to school in SoCal. I think it just made it a lot easier for us.
Seriously. It seriously did. And then once Morgan graduated, she moved over to San Diego, as did a lot of her teammates, and who are still our best friends.
Love you, girls.
To this day. So it's just I always find it so incredible that Morgan happened to join a volleyball team that just had such incredible people that we have kept throughout adulthood. Because even when I first met them, I was a little younger and I was a teenager, and so it wasn't until after I graduated even that we really all got a lot closer. So it's been super fun. But that's a little bit of background on us. But the whole chunk, the rest of the episode, we're kind of going to talk through some ideas that we already talked about on our own time anyways, where we're going to kind of dive into unpopular opinions for those who are new here. This is a segment we just started this year where I go to Reddit, and some of them actually just come up with on my own, where we talk about questions, advice, what are our opinions on some things that may not always get often talked about in any other setting. And this podcast overall is really about life. It's like, of course it's called Baddies Mean Business, but we're talking about the whole person. So it's like, of course, career is a part of that, but we're talking about how we think about things. So first things first, I'll go ahead and pull up my phone right now. And we'll dive in. Do you have anything to share before we get started?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not yet.
All right. Okay, this first thing, I'm going to start this segment off with talking kind of about your life after college. So for me, my perspective of all of this, I wasn't an athlete, but I videoed like the football team and kind of like saw what that routine kind of looked like from afar. So I can only imagine what that transition is like outside of college when you graduate and you're going back to your 9 to 5. So this was kind of the main theme of your last episode very early on. It was like over 2.5 years ago. So how has that perspective for you evolved in the last 2.5 years since you graduated?
Yeah, so it's evolved a lot actually. So our previous episode I was on with one of my really good friend Mallory Marcus. She was also on my team. But I think the biggest thing that helped me transition. So when I graduated in 2020, I had a 9 to 5, lived in San Diego, and I didn't really have like a set routine. I didn't want a routine at first because being a Division I athlete, like your whole day is planned out for you. You have a full set of classes. You have practice every single day for multiple hours. You have weights or conditioning. So I wanted to get away from a set structure and just do my own thing. But I've realized now, 3 years post-grad, that I thrive with structure and I thrive with the routine. And I know a lot of my teammates who also live here, they need to fill up their day for them to have a good day. And I'm not saying that we're like doing these strenuous workouts or like this strenuous schedule where you have to wake up at 5 a.m. But I think just filling your days with productive things. And I think that has really helped me in developing a very healthy like lifestyle. So I would highly suggest, if you are an ex-Division I athlete, like don't steer away from a routine. Don't steer away from having your days not jam-packed, but just filling it with good, productive things, because I think it's really helped me. And And a planner. Oh my gosh. I used that thing like crazy. I thought I would steer away from that too because it was mandatory for us to use a planner throughout college by our coaches. And so I think post grad, I am still using it. I am planning out every single thing that I need to do in that day, down to the hour, down to the half hour. So I think that's very, very beneficial. Coming from a super structured regimen going through college as an athlete.
I agree with that. And big Google Calendar girl, big Asana girl for the workplace, and a big sticky notes or to-do list, written down type of person.
I need it everywhere.
Yeah, truly. And I look back at like what college like was like. I wasn't an athlete, but I did work a lot in college. And it's just like a long day, and like you said, every single hour is down to like
planned out.
You kind of used to like not sleeping so much. Well, for me, I was not sleeping very much at all. I was like 4 hours to 6 hours was like my average my senior year. But another thing that kind of goes to all of it is just like how your body changes after college, because I think it's a lot easier to upkeep yourself when you have maybe 2-3 classes a day. For you literally, it was built into your life. For other people,
no choice.
You had no choice but to keep in tip top shape. I do have one of these unpopular opinions that someone else shared. I would love for you to just kind of talk about that transition, the physical part of it all. But so this is coming from the fitness Reddit page. This particular post only got like 21 upvotes, but plenty of comments. And so I'll go ahead and read it off. So, former high school, college athletes, how did you transition from training to working out? Played football in college and was in great shape. Graduated, got a 9-to-5, and no longer have the time to do what I once did on a daily basis, not to mention family, wife, kids, etc. When I go to the gym, it sucks not being able to do what I once used to be able to do. As much as I'm out pushing myself mentally to get my college body back, I know it will never be the same. I'm running out of motivation to keep fighting the fight. Any former athletes have any advice on how to overcome this negative mindset?
Yeah, so I think back, and I was younger for my grade. So going into college, I was 17. And so looking back on that body and like those pictures, and I'm sure a lot of people can attest to it, like you kind of compare yourself to that body type, I guess. And now, like, I'm a 25-year-old woman, like you're a 23-year-old woman, like our bodies have changed so much, and for the better. Like our bodies are made to reproduce and have babies and all these things. So I think just understanding that, and understanding that not having the same college body is okay. It is okay. You don't need to push yourself to exhaustion. But it is hard. I had a lot of body issues these last 3 years.
Which is extraordinary to me, by the way, but I know everyone's standards are different.
No, I had serious body issues, and
just I'd like to know if these are all acceptable. It doesn't matter if you're super, super like small on other people's standards, like whatever you feel is valid, by the way.
Period. But yeah, so I remember, our friend Haley, she played at Ohio State. She played soccer at Ohio State. And I just remember when I first met her, we were like scrolling through our old college pictures, and we were just like, oh, like to have that body again, like a lifted butt, or like, those types of things. So we would go to F45 at 4 a.m., like push ourselves to the max. And I also worked with her at the time. And so we had a 9-to-5 after, because that's the only time we could fit it in and actually have a social life afterwards. But we would be so exhausted, and it wasn't sustainable for longer than 3 months. Did we look good? Yeah, I think so. But was it sustainable? Absolutely not. So I think just trying to figure out like when to work out, when to fit in a good workout, a strenuous workout, because I know we need to as ex-athletes, or just anyone in general. Like you want to have a workout where you're dripping sweat, but you can also replace those types of workouts in with like Pilates, or ClassPass is a huge thing now, I think. And I've been utilizing that, and a lot of my friends have too. But Pilates, like, you're not dripping sweat, but you're getting a good workout, cycling, going on hikes, going on walks. I think walks are very,
they're not underrated.
yeah, they're not underrated
because
a lot of
does
people
them,
do it.
but they are underrated into what I would say they could do for you.
Yeah.
Depending.
Like it's an actual supplement. Like, it's not just like a bonus to your day. Like, you can replace a whole workout with a long walk.
Which we did this morning.
Yes.
Yep.
Right. That's why we're out of breath. Anyway.
Just moving in general, but yes.
But yeah, I think that was the hardest thing to understand post college, was like getting to know what workouts work for your body type, what workouts work for your schedule, what workouts, you know, are gonna give you the results that you want. But you're never gonna go back to your college body unless that's your job, you know. And like being in athletics, that was our job. So I've kind of had to. It's been a roller coaster for sure for body image.
One thing I find interesting too is that, like, I just had always this like distinct memory of how I always saw myself in my body too, which honestly, like, now being out of college and a majority of our friend group being ex-D1 athletes, it's definitely helped me, like, getting back in the gym more, just enjoying the activity of it all, being intentional in doing activity every day. But it's kind of crazy because I look back, even, and this is like different in more of just like a general approach. I look back at pictures of times where I like had like great body image, terrible body image. I'm the type of person, my body evolves very quickly. Like, I gain weight pretty quickly, I lose weight pretty quickly. It just depends on like that era of my life. But then I like look back at, sometimes I look back at pictures when I know for a fact I was the most confident possible because I knew I felt strong, I was being consistent, and I look back and I'm like, honestly, like, is my body that different, or was it more of just like how I perceived myself? Because when I feel stronger, I feel better. Like, when I know I'm like actively working hard and going to the gym when I want to and being consistent and I feel strong,
you're more confident.
I'm confident.
You put in the work. Yeah.
I could be like heavier than other times in my life, but like knowing that I feel strong and I feel healthy and I feel clean, honestly, was enough. And I feel like that was a shift in my mindset that honestly I think I learned after college, being around all of you more, because a lot of our friends also were coaches at like Orange Theory for a bit. Yeah. Just a very fit community. So everybody has their different take on it, but being around people that kind of match that energy has been also really helpful. Yeah. Like matching the energy that you want to be, and just becoming normal life. Like, it's not like a standard you can't meet. Like, no, it's just a standard.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And I think that goes back to my quote, behind every good woman is another good woman. So just surrounding yourself with people that you want to be or are close to you, so that you can do the same things as them, or like they will bring you up with them when you're feeling down or like don't want to do a workout. And I think that's a lot of how our friends, like how we hang out now in our like later 20s. We all have our own lives. And so one thing that we can always rely on is like a good workout and a long walk. We can also tie in good conversation and like catching up. So I think that is very beneficial to our friend group too.
I think you just gave me a perfect transition into the rest of the topics that we will be talking about. And so in this next kind of section of the episode is we're going to be talking about friendship relationships. Growing up, we're both in different like ages, but still within our 20s. And honestly, this phase of our 20s is so confusing. It's so confusing because everybody's in a different stage. Some people are married or getting married. Like some people are planning on moving or getting an itch or to quit their job and start new jobs. Like, we're just seeing everything.
Big transition.
All across the board of transitions. And so we thought it'd be cool to talk about these concepts of friendship just in general. And so we're just going to talk about some ideas, and these are common ideas that we looked and found on Reddit, we found online, we've seen throughout our lives. And so we picked a few and we're going to talk about it. So the first thing first, kind of going off of what you just said, the whole idea of growing up and being able to adjust to the different phases that we're experiencing right now. Like, what has that been like for you? And I'll share a little bit more about like my perspective too, because our friends are a little bit older than I am. So I think we both have like our own perspective on it.
Yeah. So thankfully I have a good set of ex-teammates who've now become my best friends, and who are all over the country. I have my best friend, Kat Lowry. Shout out, girl. She'll love that. Go follow her now. She's like, no. Okay.
She's starting off her influence.
But she is doing her thing. She's a law student in Milwaukee, going to Marquette, and we don't talk. Okay, we text probably every day, but we don't like catch up every day. And I think that was a huge transition, because I think our whole group of friends, when we were all in Riverside, we were very dependent on each other. We always went to each other for everything. And then obviously COVID hit. So that was a huge difference in, I guess, our communication throughout the weeks and stuff like that. And then her going off and going to grad school and stuff like that. That whole transition was we didn't have a transition. And it's worked out great, but I think those friendships where you don't have to talk every single day and keep up with, you can just talk like once a week or every other week and still have such a good relationship. Like, she's the girl that I will go to, besides Riley, like she's the girl that I would go to for any little thing, because she's my yin. If I'm yin, she's my other yin, you know? So she's just like my soulmate. And I'm just so thankful that I have that type of relationship with her. And for more of my friends that live here, I think
for one, it's a blessing for us. Like, we understand that like this is a very specific topic for this age, but honestly, if you think about it, it's many ages, because when you get into your later adulthood and become a parent, you kind of like lose touch with your friends more and more. So honestly, the theme that we feel like we're talking about right now is the difference between low maintenance and high maintenance friendships, and long distance friendships. So what I feel like we're talking about is, going back to what I was saying, we are really blessed to be surrounded by so many of our friends, like our close friends in a singular city, which is like
unheard of.
We were, for probably a little bit, there was just like a period where we all happened to have been honestly in a really similar pathway.
Yeah.
This is it. Last year, we were all kind of in the same place. We were all single. We all were kind of in the same wavelength of how we wanted to spend our time. Like, we were just having fun.
Spend our time.
And then it came to this more recently, where everyone just kind of like suddenly started this brand new chapter, where we're like, oh gosh, like, okay, this is all happening, and now we're adjusting.
Yeah. And I think it all happened at once, where I think when we were in it, we kind of, in the back of our mind, we kind of knew that this could possibly be our last few months where like everyone was kind of doing the same thing. Yeah. Together. So it's been a huge eye opener. And I know, so our other friend, Maddie, she moved off, and I feel like that kind of sparked everyone's like interest to like, okay, like what is next for us? Like, and I think it kind of sparked something in me where I'm like, okay, like what is next for me? I've lived in San Diego for 3 years. Am I ready to go back home? Okay. I know I tell
there's a big idea right there that we just dropped, because you kind of mentioned it before, where we were like, part of me and Morgan's plan kind of ends in the end game would be getting closer to our family, which is in Washington State. Yeah. So that's kind of what.
Yeah. And so for those of you who don't know, I post everywhere, but I have a niece. I would show you. I'm going to put in a clip right here.
We're going to put a photo here.
Her name is Skylar. She's beautiful. But I do have a niece, and I am my brother's only sibling in general. So of course I want to be there for her. But am I ready to move back home? No, I don't think so. So I'm kind of in that limbo of like, okay, do I stay here and, develop spiritually, mentally, physically, all those things, or find a new pathway? I don't know.
It's very scary. And so I wish I had like literally analytics of like what every phase each friend is in.
Oh yeah, it's all over the map.
It's all over the map. There's people who got engaged and are like getting married. There's people who want to move to a different city. Mm-hmm. People who got into relationships and now they're thinking about, it's like their first time really having a true partnership, that they actually found somebody that they want to build a life with, potentially. Mm-hmm. Like there's just all these things, and finding out what's right is so difficult. Difficult. Obviously, I'm here sitting back and I'm like, oh, what?
I know.
I'm just watching because like I'm not at that mentally. I'm not at that level yet. Because I'm more like, I love being here in San Diego, like in the community of it all. But that's coming, and so that's why I think it is important to talk about, because like that point hits everybody. At some point in their life.
And I'm kind of like I'm thankful. Well, I am very thankful for Riley, because she kind of she definitely keeps me grounded in the fact that like I don't need to take everything so serious. Like I can work from home, so I'm able to go back home for long periods of time, not just a weekend. And so I have that going for me, and I'm so thankful and feel so blessed that I'm able to do that, so that I don't feel like I need to move back home. My parents would think otherwise. But no, I'm thankful for Riley, because she keeps me grounded and like, okay, like, do you think your time here is done? Do you think your time away from home is done? And like, I kind of had to think like, no, it's not. It's definitely not. I'm only 25. So we'll see what the future holds. But it's definitely
scary.
Yeah, it's very scary.
And I am a big believer in there's problems that come, but there is always an answer, and there's so many different types of answers that you can kind of look into. So it's just like sitting down and it's like, okay, well, what do I want with my life? What are my options? And then figuring out something that makes it total win. But of course it would like kill me to think that me on the other end, who's the other person who's like not so much thinking about moving or anything like that, but knowing that the people I love the most and hang out with the most are thinking about moving away, it's like a tough feeling to know. But coming to terms of it is that this is a very organic part of life. And I know for a fact that any decision that's being made is going to be the right one, because we've been thinking about it and we've been talking about it and talking about it with people who have the right information and don't really jump to conclusions, being like, what are you doing? Like, who get defensive and they're like, why are you doing that? Like, you have a great life here. Like, of course you could be saying that, but ultimately it's like, okay, well, long-term goals, what works best for you, and everything's going to be okay. Everything
works out at some point. And I think everyone has their own specific story, and it'll all work out, and then everything happens for a reason.
And I think that kind of opens up the idea of growing, whether or not it's growing out of a relationship, like determining whether or not you're growing out of a friendship or you guys are both just growing is kind of what I thought we could talk about next. Because my idea of what growing out of a friendship is that the conversations that you're having with each other no longer are aligned. Like, you can't really find that synergy. Like, you can have really similar values, and that's awesome, and that works for a lot of people. As long as you're morally aligned, you're going to be great friends. For other people, they might have standards where they're setting them of like, do we have common like places in our life? Like, can we talk about things that we both can relate to and feel satisfied with in the conversation. That to me are the questions you ask when you're talking about, are you growing out of a friendship?
Yeah.
When you think about just growing, it's like, okay, well, we're just entering a different phase of life, and we may not be on the same like phase of life. You don't have to be on the same phase of life with every single friend.
Yeah.
But understanding like the expectations you had before of like hanging out all the time and talking all the time and like just being over at each other's houses all the time, like that just is not going to be the standard anymore. Like you're going to kind of, are you going to have a more low maintenance friendship?
Right.
Is everything. So just like, what are your thoughts on that? Since we are in a similar, we share a friend group, like, what are your thoughts moving forward with just that thought process for you in determining like that little, what's it called? It's like analyzing who's in your life and determining whether or not you're still aligned or not.
Yeah. I think,
and it's gonna go to the past too. Like this doesn't have to be like now, but I think it's an important skill to know.
No, I think over the years I've definitely like thought that I wanted like so many friends and like I wanted I guess quantity over quality, but I think now that I have such good friends post college that I did have in college and they're still with me, they're still they're ride or dies. I think having a good quality friend group, even if it's just like 5-6 girls that I can go to with anything, and I don't have to go to every single one of them about everything. I think a lot of them have different strengths.
Yeah,
they have different strengths, and others have weaknesses. So I think just knowing my friends, and I'm thankful that I have had them for 7+ years, that I know each other's strengths and I know that they can come to me for things as well, like specific things as well. So I think I do have in my head, like I compartmentalize different friends. Like, okay, like I can go to dinner and like get coffee with like this group, but like I can talk about like my relationship and talk about like my career choice with this group. So I think just not, just knowing that you can compartmentalize friends and just people in general, and you don't have to tell everyone everything. You don't have to tell this group every little detail about your life and then tell this group the same thing. So I think I've learned that over the years. You don't. Yeah.
Something I found interesting, because like this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately, because I think friends are so important to have, like always. I think friends are important to have long term in life. I know that most adults will say like, oh, you just need 1-2 close friends, which is great, whatever. If that happens, great. But when I was thinking about the compartmentalization of friends, something that I found interesting is like you can really determine a good friend by when you respond to them with some type of conflict, like something that's concerning. And of course it would make anyone that loves you concerned, whether or not they jump to an extreme, or they're willing just to listen and more help you with a decision.
Yeah.
Which
like give you a solution or like their perspective on.
Yeah, like helping you through the solution. They can give you their solutions too and thoughts. And if you're that type of person that doesn't like just take in whatever people tell you, that could work. But if you're more the type of person who like doesn't like to be told to what to do, your friend knowing that helping you walk through your thought process.
Yeah, because most of the time I think people just need to talk things through without any judgment, without any like biases. So I think knowing which friends you can go to with those types of things, and they're not gonna sway you in any type of direction. They're just gonna hear you out and know your thoughts, and they should have the best
your best intentions in mind.
Right.
There we
Yin
go.
and yang.
Yin and yang. I agree though. I agree. And it's I think it's like it's acceptable to have, especially at this age. I mean, it's totally up to you. It's acceptable to have your different groups of friends who you go to for different types of things.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how like I feel like life goes. You're gonna go to certain coworkers to get a certain thing done.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, so that kind of, I wanted to dive a little bit deeper too in the whole idea of low maintenance friendships versus high maintenance friendships. Like is it acceptable to know about yourself that you only would prefer low maintenance friendships over high maintenance friendships? Is that an acceptable thing to use in your thought process when it comes to determining which friends you want around?
I think it depends on your, it does. It definitely depends on your personality. But I think you should have both in your life.
Like low maintenance and high maintenance.
I think you would consider yourself very low maintenance.
I would agree with that.
You're low maintenance to me, and I live right next to you.
Yeah. I just kind of vibe. I'm just like,
she's a viber. You don't need to worry about her.
I'll figure it out.
Anywhere.
There's inside jokes to that one. We're not going to talk about that though. But I agree with that because I do love my friendships that I'm like, okay, we talk every day. I like to talk every day.
Yeah.
Like I just like to hear what's going on in your life. And I think that's totally acceptable. And then there's other friendships that you're like, I can't give you my all the time.
Yeah.
Or there's phases of your life that you get into where you're like, I'm just in a phase of my life. I'm busy. I hope you can understand that I
don't have time
this year, like even a year span of it. Like I'm just not going to be able to give you the all that I gave you maybe last year, just because I'm in a different phase of my life. It's not because I don't care about your friendship any less. It's just because like just right now I can't talk every day. Like, you know, so it's kind of like no black and white answer. It's always just like being understanding that this process of growing up, it has so many layers. It's way more complicated than black and white. It's not about, oh, they hate me now, they don't talk to me anymore. Yeah. No. If you care about that friendship, hopefully you'll understand, know the person well enough to know like, oh, maybe they're just in a different mindset.
I think knowing that person is key.
You just kind of vibe on it. Like you're just like,
I'm fine.
She loves her peace.
By myself. I am fine by myself.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like a pick me, but like I was telling Riley this the other day. Like I love to run errands. Oh my gosh, I sound like a pick me girl.
Oh yes. No. I think this is totally acceptable.
I swear it's just me.
No. Do you want me to say it?
Sure.
Okay. Well, we were talking about this. Okay. This is a perfect example. Okay. So knowing the people that you're friends with is so important. Knowing the person that you are a partner with and a spouse with, you just got to know their things. And I think that'll help you save some sanity. So there was a period where I don't know, me and Morgan, we used to go to the gym together in the mornings. It just wasn't sustainable. Like I started going into an office. Anyways, long story short. But there's occasional times where Morgan's like, oh, I'm going to go run, like go to the gym. And I'm like, oh, well, I have time right now. Like, can I go to the gym with you?
And I'm like right about to walk out the door.
And I'm like, just give me 5 minutes. Let's go to the gym together because carpool, it's convenient. Like one car, let's just go together. We go to the same gym. That's what's going through my mind.
But like, I think this stems from, I guess we were both on our own ever since like we were 18, 17. But like even when I was living with my college roommates in college, like I love doing things by myself. I love grocery shopping by myself. Like any free time that I had alone, I would take it. I would be in my room, lock the door, because I think I was around a team and just like coaches all the time. I love my alone time. And so when Riley would say like, hey, like, can I jump in the car with you, like to go work out? I'd be like, yeah, sure.
She's so nice about it.
Nothing against her. Like she does her own workout. Like she does her own thing. But I don't know. It's just a me problem, I think.
No, well, I didn't think about it much, honestly. I was like, oh, because what she would respond is like, oh, I'm going to run some errands afterwards.
I would always be like, oh, but I'm about to go to Target. Like, I'm about to go to Costco after. I'm probably going to get my nails done. That takes like 2 hours. Are you sure you want to come?
You could have just said no.
I know. But like, I never want to say like, it's not you. Like,
you know, that's a hard thing to say. And I'm sure so many people, and I'm totally understanding of it, because there's like periods where you're like, I just want to be like, I don't want to talk to other people.
Yeah. And it's not even that she's high maintenance either. It's just
her thing. But guess what? I know this though.
And so the other day I told her about it, and she was just like, oh,
that's why.
She's like, you always say that. And I'm like, girl, I'm sorry. It's just a me thing.
And so knowing that, I'm like, I was never offended about it. I was like, oh, whatever, you know. But knowing that, I still wasn't offended, because I know her and I get that. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's just her other way of like getting some more alone time.
Yeah.
Which totally cool. Like, I am a little bit more of a social person, I will say. So I grew up with, or throughout my college, I had like 3 roommates all the time. I always had people around. And it's just us 2 living in this household. So
I'm not a hermit crab. I'm not a hermit.
She's not a hermit. She just has mood, you know, like certain periods.
My social battery, I think, is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Which is acceptable. Okay.
Acceptable.
Just
remember people's social batteries. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. And it's okay. Like, people have the right to make these choices, you know, like if you have opposite perspectives on like how you like to spend your time, it's fine. Just like know a good thing when you got it. You know, I got a good thing as a roommate. Okay. I'm not going to let something like that get under my skin.
Yeah.
My life goes on. It's not going to bother me. So that's kind of how we approach that. Cause I think that happens way too often, where somebody gets offended by someone not wanting to spend time with them.
Yeah.
I think it's acceptable to say no. Like, if somebody asks you to hang out or asks you to do something, it's acceptable to say no.
Yeah.
Just because you don't want to. Like, I would love
your peace.
I would love for that to become a thing where people don't make up excuses when they don't want to go and do plans. It's more of just like, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, I just don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that happens often. So often. Just protect our peace.
Right.
2024.
Yep.
Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk a little bit about, because we both have our long distance besties. Shout out to Kenzie and Kat. Kenzie and Kat. So just share a little bit about that, because we have our long distance friendships where they're important to us. It's kind of like that later stage of growing where they're doing their thing over there, but we know it's for life.
Oh yeah.
For life.
For life. And it's funny because I think yours is more so like yin and yang.
Oh yeah. So Morgan and Kat are yin and yang. Yin and yin.
Yin, yin.
No discussion. Absolutely none. And then me and Kenzie, for those who've listened before, we're more like yin yang, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting.
But no, I don't think we didn't realize how, I guess, similar we were until really post college. Because I think we definitely like developed our own like personalities. Besides, I mean, volleyball was our personality like in college. Like, I'll just be honest, or just the IE in general, for that short amount of time. But I think just us getting back to like our roots. We come from very small town. She's from Rockford, Illinois, and we're from Yakima, Washington. So we knew that we always had that as a foundation. But I actually gave her visit when I was her like, what is it even called?
Oh, like when you're already on the team and you're like, a recruit comes and
she was my little recruit, and I took her around the whole school, and I knew as soon as I met her, I was like, we're going to be best friends. I just don't know when, you know? So post college comes, and like, I think she's a lot more, she grew up in a Catholic household, and we kind of grew up in like, we practiced Christianity here and there. But she really brought me closer to God. And I think we really like bonded over that solely because we were going through so many transitions post college during COVID, breakups, moving away to an entirely different city, not surrounded by are like best friends, and especially her. And I give so much credit to her because she moved all the way from Nashville or to Nashville, didn't really know anyone.
Imagine this, basically. It's basically all your closest friends moved together into the same city, and she had, because of her schooling, like her journey and what she wanted to do for work, she had to move and was one of the only people to move. Like that is such, I commend her for that. Because that's such a lot of people I feel like would get caught up in that that whole decision of like, wow.
Yeah. And she easily could have moved here, and I know that was an option for her. But I commend her so much for it because, and we talk about it all the time. Like, do you remember when? And, she was always there for me when I was going through whatever I was going through when I moved here. And, I can say that I was definitely there for her, but yeah, I think so. When she was in Nashville, she wasn't super close to all of these girls. And just to see that all of her best friends were in San Diego, all going out at the same time, like sleepovers, like all these things, and going through these huge milestones with each other. And she couldn't, she wasn't physically there for them, but we always included her in a lot of these things. Like, and I think
she's always going to be a part.
Oh yeah.
Like she's
regardless
still like one of the girls, you know, even though she's not here at the same time, one of the capacity or like same capacity, like spent as much time, like she's always there. She's, you know,
like I will talk to her or talk about her in any setting. I'm not like, just as I share things about my niece, like I'm over here like sharing things about Kat,
and she gets here and she's never missed a beat. She knows everything.
So I really commend her also for keeping up with all of the relationships here. I think that's so hard to do when you've been isolated. And I know a lot of people would kind of just like shut those people out just because you don't want to see that every day. But she didn't. She accepted where she was going in life and her pathway, but like still kept up with her best friends. And I think that's the epitome of like a low maintenance friend, but like she's bringing so much value to the friendship. And I think we can all see that, and we're giving that right back to her. And she, like, I think she can appreciate it because she is going through a huge transition over there. So
being a law student,
oh yeah, you need your support.
Yeah. God bless her, honestly. And for people who make that choice to go follow your the things you've always wanted to do in spite of it not being around the people you care about the most about.
Oh yeah. And I'm glad she has her like family support too. Like that's huge. But friendships, you know, like she has her friends there, but they're not us.
So if you want to spend a $1 kajillion on people's weddings in the future, low maintenance friendships, everybody.
Yep. Period.
Occasional catch up. What's going on? Roses and thorns. Your photo dumps.
Dumps. Those are so sweet. My other best friend who we're gonna see tonight, her name's Brooke. Her and me and Kat are all in a group chat, and we'll send like weekly, like bi-weekly photo dumps, and just like a long paragraph of what happened, like what's going on in each other's lives, things that we're battling or things that you know, are going right for us. So I think that's another key component of low maintenance friendships. Like
friendship looks different now. Like friendship looks different,
and it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Like you don't need to be talking every day.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, we haven't spoken since June of 2023. But
yeah, like no one takes that serious, for sure.
Yeah. Perfect example is like our friend Ryan from high school still got his wedding invite on our tree right there, our Christmas tree that we still have up.
Yeah.
But like we probably catch up like every few months, you know. Friendship looks different to everybody. But gosh, like I still like the best people. I feel like the biggest thing is like when you think about these people, do you imagine like them having your back for anything and being reasonable and aligning, and like, so then that's your answer. I'm like, if you don't speak you speak every few months, but as long as they kind of tick those boxes for you, they're good people to have around. You don't need to cut and burn every single bridge just because you don't talk all the time, or it's, you know, things are different than they were.
Right.
Like, it's okay. Like, things are gonna be different.
Yeah.
Our like relationship's gonna change, probably, hopefully not that much, but anyway.
We'll always be like this.
Like this, but there's gonna be a time where we're gonna be in a different place and live in different cities, and we didn't
talk all the time. But
I know, which sucks to think about, of course, but it's organic, and we can't, you know, uphold this expectation forever.
And I think we went through that in college a little bit. Like we weren't we obviously didn't see each other every single day, but like when we'd go home for holidays or anything like that,
it's just right back at it.
Right back. So that's kind of how I value low maintenance, long distance friendships.
Mm-hmm. And same goes for me with Kenzie. Kenzie used to be a host on this podcast as well, but she lives in Kansas City, and so she's far away. But like for her, like, I know her heart so much, and like we're yin and yang. More so we're a little bit different in certain ways, but our morals and values are completely aligned. Like, she is one of the best people I know. She has the kindest heart. Like, she couldn't hurt a fly. I swear by, like,
oh yeah, she's such a sweet soul.
Yeah, like, I'm the one who will hurt the fly. Like,
yin and yang.
Yin and yang. I'm like that one TikTok trend where it's like a soft golden retriever friend versus the bulldog pit bull friend. Let's put that on a shirt. But anyways, so I think that it's been really a lot of learning this last year, just on like how to deal with relationships and friendships, and once friends get into relationships, which is a whole nother interesting topic.
It's another topic.
I don't know if you wanted to share on just like that, where it's like as people get into
well, that's a good one.
that one is a whole nother episode, but we're gonna touch on it right now because we're passionate. As friends get into relationships. Okay, actually, no, I totally want to talk about this. Okay. So, it doesn't have to be about you.
Okay.
Foreshadow. But
anyways,
what I'm talking about really is like when you're so used to having your friends around, and then they get into a relationship, and there's different degrees of whether that relationship you're getting to know the person that your friend is with.
Right.
You're kind of making your own assumptions on whether or not they deserve to be that person. And then if you do decide that they are a person worth having, like that deserves your friend, implementing them into your life in a similar way and accepting what life is like now with that person in it. Yeah. What are just that's a whole lot of topics in one, but just share like your thought process through this whole phase that we've been kind of going through.
Yeah. So I think we're both definitely in that phase of, a lot of us, or a lot of our friends around us, are in very like long-term, forever relationships, and so they're not going to be available all the time, or they're not going to be, you know, going out, or they're not going to be like available for dinner all the time because they have date nights, and you know, they have things that they want to be present for their partner, and so just kind of like taking a step back and being like, okay, like I respect what they're building, and I'm understanding that this could be it for them, and so like just knowing that we're transitioning and it's okay for them to always be at their house, or like, you know, like they're not always going to be available, and I think just understanding the phase that they're in, like you don't even have to be in that phase, but just knowing that you'd want the same support from them if you were in the same position. So
I think it's interesting because it's like right now, I would say like every person, we've been lucky. Like I think we've been so lucky that our friends have found partners that we even would consider friends. So like it's so easy to integrate them.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's kind of something when your friend finds somebody that you're not so interested in, like it's not like maybe even saying like they're a bad person. Like they could be a good person, you know, they probably fit your friends like requirements of what they want. You may not just like vibe with them like as well as like as a friend would, but knowing that difference is something I feel like is so important, because when issues arise, you want your people to be there to help you kind of like see through the
Navigate.
noise and
Yeah.
not contribute to the noise.
Mhm.
And so I think that's something that I feel like is so important for people our age to know, is just like, okay, well, is it just because you don't vibe with them
Mhm.
as a person because you're just different?
Yeah.
Or is it because it's not a good relationship?
Right.
And if it's not a good relationship, let's hold your tongue a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's not jump to
Let's not
break
jump
up
to-
with them.
Right.
Like, oh, you should break up with them. Projection. Do not project your trauma. That is actually one of my biggest pet peeves, and feel free to bounce back or like, come at me if you want. But one of the biggest things I have is like, I don't really believe in weaponizing trauma. Well, what I mean by that is like using your past traumatic like experiences with other relationships or childhood or literally anything at all, and then projecting that onto other people as a way for them to give you like, oh, I'm sorry, like I went through this and this, like that's why I'm this. I think to a degree that's perfectly acceptable,
Riley would
but
say you need therapy.
that's kind of my thing this year, where I'm just like, therapy.
You need therapy.
You need therapy.
Riley's my therapy.
You need therapy. I know. I need therapy too. We all need therapy. Therapy is great, everybody. But my answer now is go to therapy. But what was I saying right before? Weaponizing trauma. So my thought around that is like, if the person you're talking to didn't contribute necessarily to it, I don't think it's fair to use it as a justification for bad behavior. And that's kind of where I think about that, because I really do believe you are in full control of your life, and it's not fair for other people to have to endure the rough occasions because of your process dealing with that trauma. So that's kind of what I mean. And when it comes to this, when you're dealing with giving advice to friends when it comes to relationships, it's something to keep in mind, is like, is this something that I currently deal with or I had dealt with, and I think that, I think you're in that scenario, and you're kind of diagnosing it as the same exact scenario, when more likely than not it's not,
right?
Because it's two different people in a different scenario in a different phase of their life who have different experiences behind them. Get this straight right here. I have always been a part of Morgan's life, as you know, and one of the parts of her life that I've always been there for was past relationships. And I think a big reason why I feel like I'm like, as of right now, I feel pretty confident in my way, what I want so far in a partner, is because I always had Morgan to look up to and learn from in a secondhand way. So in her life right now, she said she had a boyfriend. She said it.
Yeah, you're right.
Not me.
I did say that.
So she has a boyfriend, and he has been great so far. Like you hear that so far?
You heard that?
You heard that? I'm still watching.
Replay it.
I'm still watching. Police over here.
Yeah, she's the FBI right there. She's the feds.
That's a little joke. He said that I was like the police. I reminded him of the police.
I don't
know. My name in his contact is
it's like a police emoji.
Because I am. Here's your compliment that you'll never get again. I think he's a great guy. I think any person in a relationship should be rewarded for doing the most that they can and taking all the right steps and understanding boundaries and taking such care and intention in a relationship. That should be rewarded regardless. And of course you have your past fears of like, oh, what if I look stupid in the end? What if there's something I don't know? Like, what if there's secrets and I'm not aware of them yet? That's always going to be true. I don't think married couples hide stuff from each other too sometimes. There's just no perfection. But I do think people should be rewarded and trusted if they've given you no reason to do so. Right. And so I think me understanding like, oh shoot, she actually found somebody who deserves that, is a realization that I'm like, okay, we might be entering a phase where we're not going to be able to be together all the time. And so I'm like in loving it though. And I think for people who are more in my situation for this, it's like, this was the end goal. Like you want nothing more than your family and friends to be happy. And to find somebody that they're willing to share happiness with and generate more happiness for. Like there's happiness that other people can produce that I won't be able to produce for other people. And I think it's a beautiful blessing to witness, and that's what keeps me going. As I'm losing.
She's been through the worst of it, that's for sure. Like, not even as a first person. Like,
I've orchestrated.
Yeah.
Not totally. But yeah. I've been a veteran advisory board member since my middle school days.
And she's never just been like, dropped everything and was like, you're right, Morgan. Like
some people would assume.
Yeah. No, she actually is like, okay, like, these are the pros, these are the cons. Let's actually think about this. Let's not jump to conclusions.
Therapy.
Yeah. So
I think I do come off, and this is kind of part of reason why I felt so passionate, honestly, and not to be like, this isn't sales, but like
on brand.
This is on brand. This is me. The whole idea of aggression and being passionate about your friends. It's like, I'm a passionate person, of course. If they're acting up, I'm like, I want to say break up with them. Like, screw that. Life's too short to deal. Yeah. But when I really think about it, it's like, I don't want somebody to do that to me. Yeah. Like, because I'm going to be in a vulnerable state. Everybody thinks more logical when they're outside of a relationship, when they're outside of the situation, of course. So it's like, okay, I would want somebody to have that level of consideration when it comes to my issues that come. And let me share as much logical advice now so that they can reiterate it back to me when I am acting senseless.
Yeah, we're going to pay up here soon.
I'll have credit. Mm-hmm. I'm going to cash out later on. But anyways, that's kind of my thoughts on that. And I think you should be happy for your friends, especially the ones who get into relationships. Like, it's going to be different. If they are actually a toxic person and like absolutely astronomical, yeah, tell your friend, like, maybe in a reasonable way, in a kind way, just bring up and ask questions like, hey, like, have you, like, how's, like, blah, blah, blah. Like,
because regardless, they have to go through it. A lot of us have been through, those relationships where
you're blind.
You're blinded by love, and you don't really see their character. You're just in the moment, and your friends do have to kind of keep you in line. But there are people who don't take that type of criticism
very well
sometimes, and I can attest to that. I mean, your friends are gonna want you to be with
the best of the
best.
They are gonna have a way higher standard. The people who you love the most are probably gonna have the highest of standards for you. And every little bad thing, they're probably gonna be like,
they're gonna jump on it as soon as it happens. But I think you just got to give them grace and let them know that you're there to kind of talk things through and consider, okay, you did this, but like, he's done all of these things, or just
let's balance the scale. Let's actually see the whole picture rather than just isolating the scenario to a point. There's a point where you're like justifying too much.
Yeah.
And it's like,
for sure,
this keeps happening. Mm-hmm. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I'm tired of hearing this. Mm-hmm. But being gentle.
Yeah. But all in all, people are going to do whatever they want to do. So you kind of just have to let them go through it on their own.
Period. Yeah. This has been honestly really nice. I know we haven't talked about the full depths of everything. Mm-hmm. This has been nice. But anyways, those are overall thoughts on everything. And I know that everybody who's listening right now is kind of going through different phases in their life. We have a lot of different ages. I bring out a lot of different guests. But this is my girl. And so I know. And so it was really nice having you on here.
Thank you.
I know, because I'm always recording here and there, whatever, but bringing you on the screen and on the mic.
It's been a pleasure. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Where can people follow you?
Oh my gosh. So I'm on Instagram. I think I'm like Morgan Kline. I think I'm just Morgan Kline _ or something. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much it. So
look her up if you want to.
You don't have to.
You don't have to, but it's an option. Anyways, thanks so much for joining. And for those who are listening to this point, thank you for listening to our stories. I post every Sunday, and feel free to follow Baddies Mean Business on LinkedIn, YouTube. Just opened a Patreon.
Ooh.
Just open a Patreon.
Okay.
Probably do some exclusive content over there, but like, let me know your ideas. But other than that, thank you so much for listening, and have a great evening. Do you have any last closing thoughts?
I do. Riley's a boss. So go follow her on everything.
Oh.
She has merch that I will be modeling, and all my friends, they're all baddies.
It helps to have hot
all
friends.
Baddies.
It helps to have hot friends, yes.
So yeah, aggressive, no, effective.
And then on the back,
Baddies Mean Business.
Baddies Mean Business.
So follow her, subscribe, do all the things.
Yeah, and also 30% of the profits for this merch goes towards women's centers in the West Coast.
Period.
So do your service, do your time, and donate to the people by buying this merch.
There you go.
Period. Thanks for the promo, sister. We're going to have to schedule a photo shoot for that. But anyways, love y'all. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.